朋友们好，欢迎大家光临我的频道，欢迎新矿友订阅，老矿友留言点赞。今天还是继续啊，关于这个26号鸡窝矿，我讲过要每天等于说实况向大家转播，就每天矿的运转情况我怎么处理啊之类的。我说到做到，就这个对这个矿所有的数据完全公开，让大家看得见摸得着。在具体讲这个矿的具体的事情之前呢，我讲一下插一个话题，就是这一阵随着这个矿的公开，很多矿友对这个鸡窝矿产生了浓厚的兴趣，是吧？原来老听我说鸡窝矿不知道长什么样，不知道怎么玩，不知道能不能赚钱，是吧？随着这个矿的展示，大家也看得出来是长什么样，怎么操作的呀？从这个地方到那个地方啊，看着我操作的行云流水的，是吧？从这个页面，跑到 SRE 那个页面，跑到先头页面，然后再操作回来，中央 KM 怎么把奖励领回来，奖励怎么处理？哪一部分复投，哪地方给它卖掉，卖到过后怎么还银行？我昨天那一集视频基本上就行云流水给大家操作了，没有任何差别。这也就说明了，这个在这个去中心化这种状态下，所有的事情全靠自己，而且它去中心化设计好了过后呢，即使是你不懂的人，你也可以玩的熟练的，就跟你不识字没有文化的人在手机上上网，在用这个智能手机是一个意思。今后的年代，这种去中心化的操作会越来越多，各行各业可能就都是无人化管理。也甚至连服务员都没有，所有的事情要全部自己搞定。所以我们在这里玩这些数字货币，也是提前进入了这个去中心化的年代。我们早点把自己磨练好，等到真正的这个去中心化年代来临过后，我们到时候就是先锋，是吧？就像一开始上网的之类的，原来如果在00年代，是吧？没有几个人懂上网，现在每个人都懂上网。如果你早点懂，就找更多的赚钱机会，是吧？好，讲到这儿来了过后呢，就很多人就表示浓厚兴趣，想来玩鸡窝矿，玩鸡窝矿就要加入会员。我昨天也讲过了，我办这个平台的目的不是为了把这个平台办多好，要吸引多少流量，多少人来，这些都我无所谓，因为搞油管平台赚不了什么钱。对，特别是这种小众话题，是吧？像玩币还讲到具体的挖鸡窝矿、具体的领空投，全世界没有多少人玩。所以我说想把这个平台搞得几万人过来、10几万过来，那都不可能的。这个话题就是这些小币感兴趣的人，是吧？所以搞油管不赚钱。我之所以这个平台上呢，就是分享我的研究成果，在我研究数字货币赚钱不影响我赚钱的情况下，能够让别人也赚钱也可以，是吧？所以等于说但是我分享成果不能大面积广泛分享，是吧？一些太多老人家过来带着大量资金来冲进来挖矿，那我也玩不成。所以后来我就设了个会员平台，你要想得到这些我研究过的信息，你就加入会员。加入会员呢，多多少少就有个门槛，有个费用。很多还没加入矿友就问了他，第一，我是你会员，交你钱了，你可要包交包会啊！我什么是手把手教会我这里要强调一下啊，我这个会员，等于说只是等于说让你分享我的研究成果，分享一个信息，我并不是为你提供服务，好吧？所有的学习，我下面有小白学堂，所有的操作。你问我问题，我都可以回答。我有时间，我一定实时的回答；没时间，可能之后一些回答。有时差，你半夜发了我的信息，我可能第二天抽时间回答。所以在这个方面，我没有为任何会员服务的这个义务。这个一定要强调清楚觉得是我会员呢，我就该提供服务。这些会员只是能够分享我的研究成果，分享一些信息还有一些矿友就问说我交钱了，当你会员了，你要包我赚钱。这个要求呢也有点过分，是吧？世界上没有任何一件事情，任何一个人说能够包别人赚钱。对我的研究成果的信息的利用是你自己的事情，你不利用也好，你不利用也好， 你等于说大手笔你利用也好，等于说你调节起来利用也好，都可以，这都是你自己的事情。不是说你成为我，等于说成为我的会员呢我就要包你赚钱。这个世界上没有那种事情，所以我在这个开这讲之前呢，我就强调这2点。第一，做会员我不是为会员提供服务，我只是让会员能够有资格分享我的研究成果，分享一些信息，是吧？第二个就是说，作为会员，你加入了挖鸡窝矿，我并不保你能够赚钱，是吧？自己操作等于说自己判断。我的信息也有可能90%是对的，有10%可能是有疑问的，你也需要自己判断。你不能说听到我的信息你就杀进来了，最后亏到钱。所有的事情全部自己对自己负责，好吧？所以我在这之前呢，就大概啰啰的讲这一点。现在今天还是讲一讲这个矿。这个矿呢，我们首先看它，总的来讲，这个矿的币量太少了，非常稀缺，是吧？现在有矿友问我，现在这个在市面上，现在
Currently, we're looking at if you want to see more campaign details.
有些矿友就问，现在市面上到底有多少币？我给大家讲现在市面上没有几万个币。现在市面上能够流通的就是原来发下空头20万个币和这2-3天讲义出来的币。那20万个币我给大家分析过，就是说起码有一多半超过10万是一辈子永远不见天日的，因为他发给大量的币发给那些大户了、大钱包了，比如别人钱包里边有10万个 atom， 别人资产都是几百万、上千万的，是吧？别人有些里边有上百万个这个 osmosis， 他也给别人发到这个空头，是吧？发这个空头发到别人钱包里边，别人根本都不玩空头，根本都不玩这些质押这些的，别人就是拿到那钱赚钱的，别人在钱包里面可能看都不看，所以他这个发放的方式也不对，他直接把币发到别人钱包里面去了。一般的发空投是我设个页面，你可以我发空投，你来 claim 点一下才能进到你钱包去。他白不说黑不说，直接丢到别人钱包去了，结果造成大量的币20万个，起码有10万个，就浪费了，就丢了，就飞了，造成一个什么好事和坏，飞了对我们先期的进去人是个好事。比如说本来等于说，比如说我有20万个币，我买币的时候呢是20万个币，我买完了过后，结果另外10万个币消失了，是不是等于说我这10万个币就涨价了？因为它deflation 了，就相当于是一半的币就升值了，是吧？我这10万个币就抵了原来20万个币了。说为什么对吧？这几天这个币价涨这么猛，就是因为这个稀缺性造成的。你看今天币价是7.7，我跟昨天一样，是吧？当时我们最开始进去的是1块，最开始进去的时候是。现在整个市面上流通的币我们看得出来，我们可以毛估毛估像在这个位置，总共我们见就13000个币，是吧？13000个币就现在握在手中没有投进来的，翻一倍好吧，就26000个币，26000币，然后在先头这边，这边2个池子，这边2个池子就算是3000。就算我们13000那边是26000是吧？就算这个里边26000，这个里边26000，等于说那也就是3万，总共9万个币。整个跟我毛估的应当差不多。整个市场上能够流通的也就9万不到10万个币，也就是说原来的20万个空头有10万币消失了。是吧？有10万个币消失了，所以说，有人问我说这个币价会怎么样？因为对2级市场，我说实话，说谦虚点就是说，我自己没什么研究，是吧？第二个呢，就2级市场币价，谁要是能够说得准，那他直接发大财了。2级市场不好估，我只能说根据这些稀缺性，它的币价维持这个样子，起码能维持好长时间，会不会往上走都有可能，是吧？ 暂时可能不怎么会往下走，这只是我的个人说法。我对二级市场研究不透彻，对这玩意儿也不好估，也不好说，本身也不好估。好，对这个大的格局讲完了过后呢，就讲我今天得了多少奖励，好吧？要得奖励，今天有一件事比较奇怪，就是我莫名其妙的出现了1.48个先头，从哪来的我不知道，因为昨天的收益是0.34个，是吧？昨天的收益是0.34个，今天呢它是1点几个，我不好写，但这儿跳出来这个1.48个从哪来的，我不知道，莫名其妙的，是吧？为什么我这儿有1.48个？原则上应当比昨天少一些，昨天是0.34，所以这1.18个我就不记了，我给它记成0.31个，好吧？这是我毛估的，好吧？不知道那一个多从哪儿来的，是吧？然后呢，另个两个词，这个词是 osmosis 词是收益是0.31个，好吧？另两个词是一个是67.7，一个是136.85，那就是在先头这边的两个词是。我们看看啊，先头这边这个是单币质押词，昨天本来715个，我质押了100个进去了，是吧？变成815个。它今天收益是67.7个先头，然后在 farming 这边呢，总共收入是136.85个先头。我们今天再毛估一下我这个池子的这个。我这个池子的这个价值大概是多少，是吧？现在还4000多，反正4000多就是4281除以36，那今天它这是11.7%，11.7那就136.85，136.85。
of our program. We can first create the structure of all of the functions our smart contract will have. That's going to be function, create, campaign. We need to have a way for us to create a campaign, right? Then we're going to have another one. Function, donate to campaign. There we go. Looks like this. Our third function is going to be
今天它的价值，我们看今天这个池子的价值，今天这个池子是815，是吧？815乘以7.75，不叫300。7.75乘以815，
we're gonna call it get campaigns. There we go. We have a structure, we have a mapping, a public variable, and finally 4 different functions that are gonna contain the entirety of all the logic of our smart contract. So with that said, let's start with the development of our first create campaign function. To start creating our create campaign function, we can first specify what parameters is it going to take in? So we're going to take in the address, which is going to be the owner. But just to know that this is a parameter only for this specific function, we're going to give all parameters an underscore. So that's going to be the address of the owner. Then we're going to have a string, memory, equal to underscore title, like this. That's going to be the second parameter.还有15000多，就是我总价值就这两个值加起来926加上这个还没有，总价值应该还不止这些，因为今天203个奖励还没算，203乘以7.75，今天还有1500多块钱还没算，1573，那今天的收益率。 As you can see, it's mostly what we already defined right here needed to create a campaign. Now in Solidity, we have to specify if this function is only internal or if you can use it from the front end. So since this one will be public, we can add a public keyword right here, and then we even have to specify what is it going to return. So we can say returns, inside of parentheses, UNT256.
今天我总共收益有这么多币，总共收益了204个币，是吧？这204个币呢是值1500多块钱，是吧？值1500多块钱，然后这个呢，
we need to accept all these parameters and then return a number. With that said, let's create a new campaign by saying campaign storage campaign is equal to campaigns and then the number of campaigns. As you can see, at the start it's going to be 0, which means that we'll be populating the first element in our campaigns array. Later on, we're going to increment that number, so that's going to be the way in which we're going to fill up our campaigns array. After that, we're going to put a require statement, and a require statement in Solidity is like a check. It is a test to see if everything is good. So let's write here, is everything okay? So inside of here, we can write campaign dot deadline is lower than block dot timestamp. That's going to be the current time. And then if that is the case, if the date of the deadline is before, meaning in the past, then we can provide an error message saying something like the deadline should be a date in the future. There we go. Now, our code is not going to proceed further if this is not satisfied. But now, if we are okay with that, then we can say campaign dot owner is equal to underscore owner. We can also say campaign dot title is equal to underscore title. Notice how we started filling up our campaign. We can say campaign dot description is equal to underscore description. Campaign dot target is equal to underscore target. Campaign dot deadline is equal to underscore deadline. Campaign dot amount collected is equal to 0 at the start. And campaign dot image is equal to underscore image. Finally, once we set that up, we can increment the number of campaigns. So that's simply going to be number of campaigns plus plus. And then finally, if everything went right, we can return number of campaigns minus 1. This is going to be the index of the most newly created campaign. Great. Now, in this case, it looks like we have a warning saying that the member deadline is not found or not visible after argument-dependent lookup in the struct crowdfunding. So let's go here to the struct, and it looks like we have an error. This right here was supposed to be deadline. Great. And also for the block.timestamp, it looks like I misspelled it, so that's going to be timestamp. This is what I liked about statically typed languages. They save you in so many cases, which is exactly why TypeScript became so much more popular. Great. With that said, our first function, create campaign, is now done. So we can click right here to collapse it, and we can move to our second function, donate to campaign. Our donate to campaign is going to be a bit simpler, at least when it comes to the parameters it takes in.
然后呢，今天先把 claim 出来过后，我想怎么卖呢？今天我想复投20%，然后这个把80%取回来给他还银行，好吧？我们今天再来进行这个操作。这操作也是给大家一个演示啊，让大家今后自己操作的时候，你就可以看一看。然后先把这个 claim 回来，是吧？先把这个奖励取回来。
This is what we're trying to send.
取回来过后呢，刚才不是203吗？我想20%的复投80%去换钱还银行。那一会儿我们再给它质押40个进去，好吧？我们再给它刚才全部取回来，集中了再说，好吧？集中了大家能够看得见，我们在中间一面正一面操作。哦，这个有了，我们的 farming number 在这里还没取回来。
dot donators dot push msg dot sender. So we want to push the address of the person that donated, and we also want to say campaigns dot donations dot push, and we want to push the amount. Let's fix this little error right here. That's supposed to be campaign. And finally, let's make the transaction. Inside of parentheses, we can say bool sent.
但不管怎么
This
样
is
吧，
going to
我
be
下
a
面我就不
variable.
操作，
It's
跟
going
昨天
to
是一
let
样
us know
还
if
是
the
先可以
transaction has been sent or not. Is equal to
刚才
payable
不是操作
campaign dot owner. We're sending it to the owner of the campaign. Dot call, and then in curly braces, value is going to be equal to amount, and then we can call it like this. That's going to be parentheses, and then inside of there, simply an empty string. Finally, at the
我
bottom,
记
we
得
can
刚
say
staking 已
if
经 claim 完
sent
了嘛，是吧？
campaign dot amount
那就是
collected
没成功嘛，刚
is
才已
equal
经把
to
这儿已经 claim
campaign
完了，我们现在该
dot
claim
amount
farming 了。
collected,
它有
and
的
we're
时
going
候
to
它这个
increment
版面
the
的信
amount
息跟
that
区块
just
链的信
came
息
in.
不一致。
Great.
哎，这个
It
也
looks
可以
like we have a
好了
warning
是了
right
我们
here,
看看 B
different number of
应该是总共
components
是
on the left side
203个
than on the right side.
到这儿
This
来
is
没
because payable returns two different things, and right now we're accessing just one. So we have to add a
对
comma
204个
to
是吧
let Solidity know
我们
that something else might come
204.56
afterward
个
as
币
well. And with that said,
204.56 个
our
币呢，
second
其中
function is that
20%
as well.
了有
We can
40
now
个复
create
投，我
campaigns
现在去
and
复
we
投
can
40
donate
个
to
去，
campaigns.
另外160
But
个
what
今
good
天
would
咱
that
卖
be
了华银
for
行，
if
好
we
吧？
cannot fetch the
我先给
donators
它
to see who donated on a specific campaign, and also we
40
cannot
个
get
复投
fetch
呢
the
还是到
campaigns.
staking 这里
So
复
let's
投
get started
虽然
with
这儿比
the
较
get
高啊，这儿的
donators
收益率
function.
还是高一些，
Our
但是
get
我不
donators
想做
function is
LP
going
了
to be
，LP 做够了。
similar to the donate to
单笔
campaign
是压到
function,
这儿3
at
年，
least
好
when
吧？
it comes to the
但是压在这
parameters
儿
it
这儿
takes
815，
in. To
干
be able
脆
to get donators,
35
we need
个
to
整
know
数
of which
还是
campaign
45
do we
个
want to
整
get
数
the donators from. So we also need to
45
pass in the uint 256
变成
underscore
变成
ID.
850
In this
还有
case,
再
this
质
is
押
going to be
45
a view function,
总
meaning it's
204
only
个
going to
35 45
return
个
some
都有
data to be able to
好吧
view it.
今天就
It's
就
also
整
going to be a
45个
public function, and it's going to
或
return
者说
this time
35
an address,
不是
rather an array of
35就够了
addresses
是吧
in memory.
35
So something
就
that
到
we stored
850了
before. And the
不要到
second
45
parameter it's going to
先出个整
return
数
is going to be an
今天就
array of numbers also stored in memory.
崩溃
You already know what this is.
崩溃
In this case, this is the array of addresses of donators,
崩溃
and then the array of the numbers of donations.
质押
Great.
35个
So, how will that look like? Well, you simply type return inside of parentheses, campaigns, square brackets, underscore ID, dot donators, and then comma, campaigns, ID, dot donations. Make sure to put the underscore ID right
然后
here.
再提
And
交
that's going to be it. We simply
等一会儿这儿
return
变成
something
850
from
个
our campaigns mapping. And with that
那我就
said,
质押
we are
上去
ready to move to our last function,
等一会儿
which is the
卖那个
get
币的时
campaigns
候呢，好
function.
像我今天
This function
昨
takes
天
no
比较过
parameters because we want to return
那
all
边
campaigns.
Osmosis 那边好
It's
卖
going
一
to
些，
be
把
a
850个
public
我复投进去了。
view
好，今天我卖这个
returns.
币呢，
And
我
what
比
we
较
want
了
to
一下，这儿
return
价
for
格
this
挺
one?
好的，
Well, I
这儿
think you
价
can
格
guess
挺
it.
好的。
We want to
我今天有
return
可能在
an
这儿卖，
array of
就
campaigns.
不到那
So
个
that looks
不到
like
那
this.
个
And
Osmosis
we're
那
going
边
to
去
get
卖。
them from memory.
比如在这
Inside
变
of
成
here,
原始
we need to
DC
get
是吧
all？ campaigns. So
这
we
儿
can say
一个人卖
campaign
7.9、
array
7.2个，哎呦，这
in
儿价格
memory
不好，
all
那边价
campaigns
格好一些，现在是不是
is
又降
equal
价了？
to
刚才是
new
7.75。
campaign
那要不要
array
是价格降了，我
and
就
then inside of parentheses
7.75
number
是吧？
of
那还是转回来
campaigns.
卖，转回来卖
Now
一
let's
样的，
quickly
还
fix
是
this
把这
return
个
to returns the
把
top
这个币
and
要
let's go
convert
over
给它
by explaining
convert
what this
成
is.
ABC，
You
然
can
后
see
再
this
给它
part
整
of
回去。
syntax was a bit weird, I'm not gonna lie.
Max
So what we're doing is we're creating a
convert
new variable called all campaigns, which is of a type
Sign.
array of multiple campaign structures. So in this case, we're not actually getting the campaigns, rather we're just creating an empty array
失败
with as many
再来一次
empty elements as there are
为什么它失败
actual campaigns.
Max
That's why we have this variable number of campaigns at the top. So for now, we simply have an empty array of that many empty structs as we have actual campaigns created. Now is our time to loop through all of the campaigns and populate that variable. So we can say for uint I is equal to 0, while I is less than number of
是不是
campaigns
要是不是要
I
这
plus
里配
plus.
点 gas 费啊？不会，
Then
没
we
这个问
want to
题。
get a campaign from
这个不用
storage
转换，这个
and
gas
let's
费都
call
有
it
是
item,
吧？
and we're
它
going
为
to
什么？
simply populate that to the
哎，怎
campaigns
么刚哦
I.
169是对，
Finally,
刚才
we
有
can set
整
the
到
all
35个
campaigns
还
I
是 convert
to be equal to that item.
convert
In this case,
从它
we're
这儿到
fetching that
ABC
specific
是不是
campaign
我
from
刚才没
storage,
点呢
and we're populating it straight to our old campaigns. Finally, the only thing we have to do is return all campaigns. Now the function is not going to complain as it is returning exactly what we specified right here. And believe it or not, with that said, we are done with our smart contract. This one took about 70 lines, but trust me, while I was developing it, the original version of the smart contract contained about 150 lines. It is just with a bit of refactoring and making sure that we only have what is needed for our application to work, that I was able to bring it down to 70. With that said, hopefully now everything makes sense, and we are ready to deploy this smart contract so that we can use it on the front end. Usually, the deployment is the toughest part of Web3 development. Everything is so slow, nothing works, you have to use a lot of additional tools, websites, and programs to be able to deploy your smart contract to the web. But Third Web has covered every single part, from development to deployment. So now we can close our Solidity contract, and we can go to our folder, and we can look into our hardhat.config.js. We just have to ensure we have a couple of lines of code here so that we can properly deploy our contract. Before all, we have to have our own MetaMask wallet. To download MetaMask, which is currently the most widely used crypto wallet, simply go to metamask.io and click the download button. That's going to redirect you to the Chrome Web Store and click Add to Chrome. After you do that, this cute box is going to appear and you're ready to start with installation. So let's click Get Started. Let's click I agree. In this case, we're going to create a new wallet and you have to choose a password. Simply type it 2 times and agree to the terms of use. Finally, I would strongly recommend you to watch this video. It's a 1.5-minute video where MetaMask teaches you how to save your private keys. Essentially, in just a moment, you'll be given your secret recovery phrase, which is a set of 12 words that are a password to your account. Now, in my case, I'm going to use my wallet simply for education purposes, and no real funds will be stored there. But if in the future you plan to store some cryptocurrencies there, make sure to write this down and save it securely. With that said, you can click Next. In this case, I'm going to share my secret recovery phrase with you. By copying these words and clicking Next, you can write them down on a piece of paper. Once you do so, I'm going to paste them right here. And now we have to select words in order. So in my case, I have word, area, heavy, envelope, summer, intact, timber, brown, trade, frame, book, and second, and we can click confirm. There we go. Finally, you can see your wallet appear right here. What you have to do is click this Ethereum mainnet, click show and hide test networks, and then toggle that on. After you do so, you can open up your extensions, and then you can pin MetaMask. That way, it will always appear right here. So now if you click right there, you can close this, and you can switch from Ethereum mainnet to currently test network. Finally, we have to get some funds, so simply copy your account address to clipboard and go to girlyfaucet.com. There, you can paste your address, and they're going to immediately send you some best Ethereum. Isn't that great? If we now close this, open up our wallet, and wait a couple of seconds, you should be able to see your girly ETH appear right in front of you. And there we go. While I was talking, it just popped up. That means that now we have our wallet address and we are ready to go. But we have to get our private key. So go to these 3 dots, account details, and click export private key. Type in your password, and then you can copy your private key from here. Click done, go back to your code, and now we can store that key inside of our environment variables. So simply right-click on the button folder and create a new .env file. There you can say private _key is equal to, and then you can paste your key right here. Inside of our getting door, make sure that the .env is there. That means that it won't be pushed to GitHub.
后面没有操作就这
That
部分，
means that now we
好
can
吧？
use
那
our
好了，
private
谢谢大
key
家，再见。
to connect to the girly network.